Howdy, folks. I'm a grumpy evening grosbeak, grouchily guzzling green Gatorade.
I'm Amber.
And here's more green Gatorade for us to guzzle. At least we have good taste. That's all I can say about that. Alright, folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a jerk for letting my son's ex visit our house after he broke up with her when she got pregnant? My son is 18 and graduating high school this year. His ex-girlfriend, Brianna, is also 18 and graduating soon. They were together for about 3 months when she told him that she was pregnant. He was pretty upset and said that he didn't want to deal with the child when he was just starting his life. He also previously said that he never wanted children, but of course he might change his mind later on. Brianna was also upset, but she wanted to keep the baby. She said that she felt that even if it wasn't the most convenient, it was still her baby and meant to be. My son broke up with her then, and they haven't had much contact since. I talked with her though, and I said that I'm sorry that my son didn't want to be in her life. But I would be happy to support her in any way that I can, and that I really do want to be in my granddaughter's life. My son told me that this is his choice, and I can't do anything about it. But I'm disappointed that he's not taking responsibility at all. We didn't really discuss it much after that. After the baby was born, Brianna took a month off from school. Once she started to get used to being a mom, she asked if she could leave the baby with me while she goes to school, as both of her parents work full-time. I run my own small business and I work from home without fixed hours, so I said that I was totally okay with this. This was a few months ago, and my son has been very upset about it since. Recently, we had a big argument about it, so I wanted some unbiased opinions. He said that he doesn't want to see his mistake every single day when he comes home, and when Brianna comes to pick up my granddaughter, I usually give her some snacks and chat with her for a bit, and my son doesn't like this either. He says that he doesn't want his ex in the house, and he just wants to move on. I do sympathize a little, but this is probably the only grandchild that I'll ever have, and I really don't want to lose the connection. I also think that Brianna deserves the support. My husband says that I'm not supporting our son, though. I did add that Brianna did a paternity test just because she didn't want anyone to have any suspicions floating around. So it is confirmed that she is my granddaughter. My son doesn't pay rent because he's still in school. He's planning on going to college in a different state, so this won't be an issue then, just for the next few months. My husband and I were going to pay for the first 2 years of college, but my son said that the second year's worth of money we should give to Brianna instead to help with the kid. So he is trying to do the right thing. He just doesn't want anything to do with either of them personally. All right, folks, what do you think?
No, I don't think OP is the jerk here. Like, this quote-unquote mistake is an actual human being, and the way of treating this child, like, I understand he doesn't want the responsibility, but no one is making him do anything.
Yeah.
No one is expecting him to do any childcare or anything like that. He's just existing in the same space as the child that he helped create.
Yeah. Sometimes in life, there are consequences for your actions, and you can't take them back. And he needs to live with the consequences of those actions. And I'm not saying that there's, like, that this is justified, but the fact of the matter is that he has a child, and OP is helping with that child. All he has to do is look at his ex once a day or something like that, right?
Right.
Well, and then on top of that, like, the whole, oh, you're not supporting your son enough, OP is supporting their son, right?
Right, he's living there rent-free, it seems like. You know, they're paying for his first year of college. It's not like he's not getting support.
Yeah,
And
they didn't kick him out of the house.
it's just that she's also helping her grandchild and the grandchild's mother, and that's a responsible thing to do. Like, yeah, the son is choosing not to parent, but he can't stop OP from choosing to be an active part of the grandchild's life.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that while, yes, he can choose not to be an active father, but OP, in the same breath, can choose to be an active grandmother. That's her choice, and he has his choice. And the fact that he's saying that he doesn't want to live with his mistake, that's life, buddy. Sometimes you just have to live with your mistakes. Sometimes there are mistakes that you just can't get around,
Well,
right?
it's so minimal too, like having to see a baby every,
Yeah.
like a few times a day. Like, again, his ex is the one who's there parenting, who's
Yeah.
doing all
Yeah.
the feeding and diaper changing and everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, who knows what her college plans are like. She probably can't go out of state to school like he's going. Like, he's going to get away from it all in a few months.
Mm-hmm.
All he has to do is put up with this for a few more months, and then it's not even his problem anymore.
Yeah, he just sounds like a very whiny individual. Like, I think that this is a tremendous opportunity that OP has to connect with their granddaughter, and I think that's great. I think that OP, you should continue to support your grandchild in any way that you can, and also Brianna. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Greeting the Delivery Man While Wearing and Operating a Breast Pump? I'm a 33-year-old female, and I'm currently pumping 6 times a day for breast milk. My newborn had a tongue tie and difficulty latching, so I'm exclusively pumping. At home, when it's just me and my husband, I don't cover up. When I have company over, I wear a cover over the pumps. Nothing wrong with not wearing a cover. I'm just personally not comfortable with pumping with my nipples exposed in front of my in-laws, parents, friends, etc. FYI, without a cover, even though you're fully clothed, the nipples are visible through the flanges when you pump. Yesterday, my front lawn camera triggered a notification. I saw the delivery guy walking up to my house with a package that I was expecting. I was mid-pump, so I texted my husband, but he replied that he was in the middle of a work meeting and could not come to the door. After ringing the doorbell and receiving no answer, I could see on the security cam that he was writing the missed delivery slip for pickup at the post office. Honestly, it's such a pain because you have to wait until the next day and drive all the way to the post office. So I decided, whatever. I threw on my cover and I opened the door. He looked very shocked and very uncomfortable to see me. I had my pump clipped to my waist and a cover over the flanges. So while no breast or nipples were exposed, you could tell that there was an outline of something attached to my chest, some tubing visible, and obvious pump noises, and possible audible milk spray. He basically cleared his throat and looked away while I signed for the delivery. Then, as he handed me the package, he kind of winced and said, "You know, you didn't have to open the door in your state. It's nothing urgent." I replied, "Yeah, but I don't want to make a trip to the post office and pick up when you're already here." He seemed quite annoyed and said, "I think that you should realize that this makes other people uncomfortable." At that point, I felt quite annoyed, and I said rather sarcastically, "My bad for traumatizing you. Hope no one else on your delivery route answers the door with medical equipment." When I told my husband, he rolled his eyes and said that guy needs to get over himself. But thinking about it, I wonder if I was being inconsiderate. Perhaps this is different from breastfeeding or pumping in public. There you are minding your own business, and others can look away, and you are not making them look at you. By answering the door, I was maybe forcing him to interact with me while I was in a state that some might find uncomfortable. I wonder if I've misunderstood some kind of social contract here. Alright folks, what do you think?
Not the jerk. I mean, OP wasn't even exposed, which, like, feeding babies, like, that's not even, like, a big deal, but she's even fully covered, and here he is complaining because he can see that she has a pump on. Like,
Yeah.
what is his problem?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that there's anything wrong with the situation. If OP came out and flashed him, I could understand him being a little more uncomfortable because he wouldn't have been prepared for that. But OP was fully covered. There wasn't anything on display. He, I think, is being the one who's overly sensitive in this situation. Now, I'm sorry that he felt slightly inconvenienced by this or slightly uncomfortable, but sometimes there are uncomfortable situations, and sometimes we just have to move past them and just move on.
Well,
Right?
the audacity of expecting a new mom to, like, just ignore him and then drive to the post office the next day to pick up the package so he wouldn't be inconvenienced by having to see her.
Yeah. It's his job, and I mean, again, like, I'm not saying that OP would have been right to, fully expose themselves, because, again, that wouldn't have been something that he would have been prepared for, and I think that it would have been a little bit of a different situation. But with OP covered up, I think that he has less of a ground on here for claiming that OP is inconveniencing him and being inconsiderate. Well, let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Spicy Turtle 38 says, "Not the jerk. You're in your own home. You are totally covered. This man needs to grow up and understand that his job requires him to visit people in their personal spaces. You didn't flash him. You are basically fixing your kid lunch. What an absurd reaction for him to expect you to inconvenience yourself on the off chance that you might accidentally offend someone by doing something entirely inoffensive." And OP replies, "I'm, fixing my kid lunch," as I type. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, "Am I a jerk for being mad that my daughter-in-law won't accommodate my allergy? So I'm not going to her dinner. I am very, very frustrated. My son has been married to my daughter-in-law for 3 years now. I have always made extra dishes, and I didn't include meat to accommodate her. No matter how much it was a pain to do, I always made sure that she had options to eat when I hosted or she was over. She is vegetarian and at one point in time tried to go vegan. My son and her never hosted due to living in a small apartment, but changed since they have just bought a home. They are having a dinner this week, and I called her to remind her that I'm allergic to nuts. She then informed me that she doesn't have time and to bring my own food. She told me that she cooks with a lot of different nuts and can't make adjustments to her menu. This is where I might be the jerk. I told her that I will not be going, and neither will my husband. That I have accommodated her for years, and not once have I made her bring her own food. This started an argument where she thinks that I'm being unreasonable. My husband is on my side and is very upset. Edit, stop downvoting people who say that there are allergies that are not life-threatening. They are correct. My allergy is not life-threatening. If it was going to kill me, then I wouldn't be okay with having any dishes having nuts. I just asked for ones that I could eat. I can be at a table with nuts just fine. This actually personally annoys me. Allergic reactions are a spectrum from very mild to kill you. Also, for everyone saying allergies get worse every single time, people have that incorrect as well. Some allergies can be improved through exposure therapy, which is usually done at the doctor's. My daughter has literally done this with her shellfish allergy. Alright folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk. It shouldn't be that hard to make a dish or two without nuts in them. Like, I could understand the complication if OP was so deathly allergic to nuts she couldn't be in a room that had nuts in it, because then there's all the products that have trace amounts of things and whatnot, and it probably would be best not to have a dinner at that point unless, OP, they're getting catering or something like that, just for safety. But it sounds like it's only nuts themselves that she can't have. It just seems really inconsiderate to invite someone to dinner knowing they have an allergy and be unwilling to accommodate that allergy.
Yeah, I mean, also, I guess what depends on the timeline, right? How it seems like this is within a week or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe she already bought all the ingredients and everything like that and was just kind of upset that she didn't get more of a notice for warning. But it's really hard to say. I'm not saying that she's even right in this situation. Surely she has something that she could whip up that would accommodate OP. But I think that she should be accommodating OP, and this is important. It is important for food safety. I don't think that she's being very nice here and very accommodating or being a very good host by not accommodating OP.
Right. Well, and even if she doesn't want to make separate dishes, like, she could always buy something from the store that's nut free, like a lasagna or something. Like, the thing that baffles me, I know that products will use peanut oils and whatnot, so that might be a concern, but there are plenty that don't, and there are so many dishes that don't use nuts. It seems really strange that everything she thought of would have to have nuts in it.
Yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And whole ad 2742 says, not the jerk, allergies are not food critiques. You can literally die from a bad reaction. The fact that you are accommodating for her dietary request and then she's completely dismissive of your actual needs is absurd. Definitely don't go to a dinner with a chef who is blasé about trying to kill you. And PC Nada says, agreed, not the jerk. If daughter-in-law refuses to concede, I'd make sure that the next family dinner at OP's house didn't have vegetarian options. Maybe being treated the way that daughter-in-law treated OP would make the point better.
I mean, I don't necessarily recommend stooping to that level. I think just don't invite them at that point.
Yeah, I think that that's a fair point, is that if you're trying to, I mean, take the high road in this particular case. I would personally take the high road. I know a lot of other people might not take the high road.
Like, she's definitely being rude, and you shouldn't go to dinner with her, and you also shouldn't invite her to dinner if that's how she's going to act. But I wouldn't. It's going to cause a lot more fires if you intentionally single her out like that. Like, if you're trying to maintain a relationship with your son, do not go the nuclear option.
Yeah, exactly. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here. And Amber, she has a joke.
Why shouldn't you turn your back on pretzels?
Why shouldn't you turn your back on pretzels? I can tell you exactly why you shouldn't turn your back on pretzels. Because pretzels, as you know, are tied up in knots. And they will attempt to tie you up in knots, too. Just because they're pretzels. That's what they do.
Because they're naughty. And if they're not naughty, they're usually twisted.
You know, that's actually pretty good. I like that. And I have Earl Grey. And there's a picture of the pretzel. Alright, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Wednesday, Hump Day, Friday, Junior's Eve. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance. And please, have it in the form of a nursery rhyme.
Georgie Porgy, postal guy, couldn't look OP in the eye. Even with the pump tucked away, he felt like he had something to say.
Yeah, I think that's good. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.
My daughter has literally done that with her selfish allergy.